you have a change of So you have a change of heart, wanna make a brand new start. You've been living on the edge with forever as a pledge. No more giving it up, turning me loose, setting us free. Baby, keeping it real, cause we got what takes for sure. There's no turning back anymore. Can you see it's all a game? Life goes on all the same. If at first you don't succeed, all you've got is all you need. If you believe, then stake your claim.
Hello, 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 Rise and Thrivers. Welcome to Monday, May 11th. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and welcome to your episode of Rise and Thrive Together. Before we start our wonderful episode, we are Rise and Thrive Together. We are a vibrant community committed to educating and empowering and equipping you to get the results that you want through real talk and taking real actions. Super excited. We're in week 2 of May of 2026, and there is so much happening inside of this fabulous conversation that we are having this month. And this is called Beyond the Ask, Owning Your Decisions. And also giving a big shout out because we're here about Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're going to put all of that together into this episode. And I'm welcome my favorite co-host and sister from another mister. What's up, Raquel?
I'm sleepy, but hi, everyone.
She's like, I'm sleepy, but here I am.
I built up that whole drama with the pause. Hey, Rise and Thrivers. I hope you guys are doing well. You had a fabulous weekend. Happy Mother's Day after to all of you. I hope you had a fantastic day no matter what you did, whether you stayed home and just chillaxed or you went all out and spent it with kids or somebody else's kids. Just really and truly a happy Mother's Day from both of us.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. It's interesting when you just read our tagline and you said real talk, real actions. What hit me, and I'm just jumping on in, y'all forgive me,
Go.
but what hit me is it has to be, no matter what it is, whether we look at it as something that is a powerful conversation or a disempowering conversation, to that person that's speaking it, it's real to them.
Mm.
And based on the conversation that you have with yourself and the conversation you have with others, comes out of you've made the decision to speak that way.
Mm.
So the real results that you're getting are based on the real talk that you have with self or others. Even when you're asking, are you asking with trepidation? Or are you asking boldly and expecting to get what you're asking for? So all of that came and flooded me when you said real talk.
Yeah, I love that. I really love that. You know, what I'm hearing from you is the first thing that comes, what now is downloading to me is about, are we even present? Right? Are we even present? When you're talking about real talk, you was like, it starts with yourself. So if I'm not really present to what I want to talk about or what I even want to ask for, it might be in the back of my head, but I might have a whole bunch of other stuff going on. And I'm just, how many of us out there unconsciously, like you have a commitment to ask something, and then life is happening and blah blah blah, and then boom, you're thrown in that moment. And if you're not really taking that pause, we have talked about that pause for a long time, and getting very present to what is going to come out of my mouth, what is going to have that real talk to ask for what I'm asking for. then again, it gets cloudy and muddy. And so I love what you said about the trepidation that gets in there, anxiety, anxious, overwhelm, or even that, what I like to say, brain fog. Brain fog is real, and there's lots of reasons how brain fog happens. But I'm going to say inside of the asking, most of the brain fog comes from, you know, again, have I taken care of myself? Have I gotten the sleep I've wanted? Have I really taken the pause so I can get to that next appointment? There's a lot of work to be done before you really are going into some conversation, getting into that real talk so you can have the results you want. And I think it's very interesting how you said that, which it was like, are you empowered? That's part of our mission, right? We're out to educate, empower, and equip people. And we have to be present to, are we empowered or are we disempowered? And I've just got really present to all of that you said. So I love it. I'm in with you.
Good thing I'm sleepy. And I don't know what's going on tonight, but I'm getting a lot of stuff just downloaded really quickly. And we have not because we ask not.
Oof. Say that again.
We have not because we ask not. Or let me make it personal. We.
Yep.
But it becomes an individual thing. So if you don't have what you want, it's because you're not asking for what you want. And back up one step. If you're not asking for what you want, my question is, do you even know? It's hard to ask a question when you don't know what to ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Again, no, I mean, it really is. And I'm going to ask the audience, what are you hearing from just what Raquel and I are in these past 6 minutes, 7 minutes talking? You've got to be very clear. People, like you said, if you're not getting what you want, if you're not having the results that you want, you yourself might not be very clear about what you want. And you think you are, but you might not be.
Does anybody out there, and jump in the chat right quick and answer, please. Anybody out there work with AI? Meaning, do you have AI agents who comprise your team? Do you have different agents performing different tasks? Because not one person can't do everything.
Yep.
We like to believe that, but let's not and say we did. Right? Let's not do that, because it's that old saying that if you want to go fast, you do it by yourself. But if you want to go far, you need to enlist the help of others, because that's going to sustain you. That's long lasting. That's longevity. But the reason why I ask about AI and how many of you really work with it, not that you get on Chat GPT and say, hey, Chat GPT, what's the weather today? And it better not pop up anywhere on what I'm using. Because here's the thing, with AI, it's the prompts that'll get you to where you want to go, or where you want AI to go. If your prompts are wishy-washy, then the response that you get from whatever whatever GPT you're using is going to be wishy-washy. So if we have to be specific with an inanimate object, how much more specific and clear do we need to be with the human beings that we are interacting with?
Absolutely. I love that. I mean, right now, nobody's posted in that yet. But that's a perfect example. I use my AI agents, and I know that it takes time, and I put in that time. Because when I first got into it, and we've had amazing people on who are experts of, with that, they have shared that. They've shared, like, the more clear you are, the prompts, you'll get more clarity around what you're saying. Now, it's great. It's great in the beginning. Like, if I'm not sure, right? If I just want some general information, that's a beginning, right? And if I'm still not happy with it, it's still like a human being that needs to get more and more clarity. And I'm really honest where I'm just like, hey, I am not sure. I'm sure I want the outcome of this, but I'm not exactly sure how to say it. Once I get, here's the thing, when I say I'm sure what the outcome is, what the result is, then the rest sort of changes. But if I'm wishy-washy with like, well, I want to kind of create a children's book and, I'll get a million different things. But if I say I want a children's book about, kidney donation and they'll be like, great. And then I'll be like, no. And it's about my kidney donation that happened on this time and on this day. More and more I get clear about it. So I really love what you're saying because vague is it's great. I think we all went through it before ChatGPT when we had to start with a paper. A teacher gave us a vague topic, but then we had to do the research and we had to still get clear. And then we started reading things and started doing that. ChatGPT is the same exact way. And I think or whatever AI tool you're using. And one of the most exciting things is that they're even having prompts beforehand. So my husband's one of those people who has like these prompts to like, it asks you questions because it can tell when you're not clear. It'll literally say to you, it seems like X, Y, and Z, but do you mean this? So thank you, Susan, for jumping in. Hi, Susan. She says, same for setting goals. The clearer you are, the better the odds that your goal will be reached, right? You just like be really clear. So I love that. It's clarity, I think, is the word of the day. We really need to be very clear about what we want so we can have the results that we want. And it goes to, if you're not getting the results, and that's for all of us. Raquel and I are not talking like out there for you guys. Like we're literally talking to ourselves. The results that we're not getting in something is because, are we really, one, clear? And two, are we asking? Because again, you go all you want by yourself, but you will go quite further when you create community here around it. So good stuff, sis. Good stuff. I love it.
You know what? And I heard this. When we're asking, we need to be clear, committed, and consistent.
Three C's.
Once we're asking and we're clear, we're committed to what we're asking, and we're consistent, because sometimes you can't just ask one time depending on who you're speaking with. We now have to own, because we want to connect the asking and owning the decision. Do you know what I mean? So if I'm asking, it's more than just asking. It's that other part. It's owning that decision that, yes, I took it upon myself. I went and asked because I decided I want to start a consulting business. I'm owning that decision. I have to ask, one, the right questions to the right person. And then where do we come? And I'm throwing this out there to everyone and to you, Reg. When it comes to owning the decision, what decision are we owning? Are we owning that we asked someone, or are we owning the decision to not? What's that part? What's the connection between the ask and owning the decision? What's the bridge?
I think that we kind of started talking about that last week, where I wish it could be so easy as black, white, right? It's, for me, layered. Listen, if I am sitting here saying that I want this result, this outcome of 50 books being sold, right? 50 books being sold by specific, right? I'm clear. Like, got a book, got it for sale, 50 books sold by the end of here. And now the asking is all these ways of doing that, right? So I'm going to set myself up for all these actions that I have to be committed to doing, that I'm being consistent in doing. And I think when you were saying like the outcome, I'm someone who's not per se attached to the outcome. It is not about like if I hit the 50, like that is like amazing, but it's really something beyond even the 50 books sold is bigger when I'm committed and consistent and asking for people to purchase it or talking to people about it and sharing with us. There's something even bigger beyond that ultimate result. I know this seems like a little woo out there, but it really is like that. If you have a result, here's what I want. It's all of this stuff that it takes to get to that point. It becomes even more huge. And why I'm saying this, ready? Because why I'm saying this, it's about celebration. It's 3 years of us consistently being on here. This is episode 158. So I'm putting that out there because I was, and we were consistent, committed, right? We were clear about we were having the show and the results that getting specifically for myself about this book. I wanted, and I've shared with you all, last August, children's book came out. What did I want? I had a mission to get it out there. People bought it. It has been a continued mission about having that book in each and every doctor's office, in each and every person's home, right? So it's a consistent conversation that I'm having with everyone. But here's the outcome. Like the outcome of that, it's have I reached the goal yet? No. Have I reached every single office in a doctor's office? Nope. Does every child in, the United States have it in their home right now? No. But the huge result of being committed and consistent, I got to be on a book tour that I'm not even part of the publishing company. Like I'm not even part of that publishing company because I was committed and consistent and asking and sharing to have people share about this book. I got to go and be part of a book tour that's going to happen in June. 2 different countries, Canada and here. And I'm not even part of that publishing company. That to me is like huge. So that even gives me more leverage of more opportunities to have that book even get more notice to reach even further. So I haven't reached the goal yet, but something that I didn't even think of. In a million years, if you would have said to me, someone's going to say, hey, do you want to come on this tour with us? Because I'm not part of that publishing company. I self-published that book. So there's something bigger than just the results. And sisters, you've got a ton of things that are happening in your life that are bigger than just the results of what you first set out for. So that's what I can, it's very layered and it's not very like black and white. And it's beautiful. And it's beautiful when I hit that result. I lost 10 pounds. That's great. I said, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose these 10 pounds. I got the 10 pounds. But it's more than just the 10 pounds. It's everything that went with it. New habits, new mindsets, new communities, all of that for me. So I think it's much more layered than just a quick little this, then that, right? So that's what I'm sharing about that. Susan's saying that, so there are planned results and ancillary results. But you need to start with some kind of declaration out loud and get that into motion and get that into action. So that's something, right, that I wanted to share.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have to make the decision that you're going to ask.
Yep.
You have to, I don't care if you use the word decide, I don't care if you use the word choose. I don't care which word you use. You've just got to figure out, am I going to ask this question? Am I going to ask whatever it is you're going to ask, this favor? You've got to make a decision on that. So when as I'm talking this out, I don't think the decision is just about at the end. I think the decision is also at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm going to ask someone to do whatever, I have to decide that I'm going to ask. And we talked about this last week as to well, who am I going to ask? Whom will I ask this question or this favor? But I have to first decide that. And then when I ask, once I decide, I have to own that decision that I'm going to take this step to ask. And then I go and ask. When we ask a question, we're not just asking an empty question. We're asking a question that we want an answer to. Depending on the answer that that person gives, you have to decide again.
Yep.
Did that response answer my question? Or do I need to ask a follow up question? Was I clear the first time I asked the question? So I feel like we're always making decisions every step.
Yep.
So the person responds however they respond, and now you get to choose. You get to decide, what do I do next? So I find this very interesting. I'm always one that's always asking questions. And more important, though, I'm always asking for clarity.
Yeah.
And I'm asking others, was I clear when I made a statement or when I asked a question? So it's always about this decision, and it's always about choosing. And if you listen to the when we close out the show, we always the last thing we say is to keep choosing you. So how important is it for you, for us, to ask? How important is it for us to make a decision and stand on it? There are a lot of people who talk about standing on business. But do you even know what that means? Have you ever took a stand for anything?
Mm.
Because that is also a choice. And we've got to stop running and hiding from decisions. And I know we make a joke about adulting. Oh, I was adulting today. And you should be adulting all the time when you're an adult. And an adult does not mean because you are a number. People take this whole, well, you're 21 now, you're an adult. You're considered an adult. You're an adult in the eyes of the law for some things and not for others. But we've always got to choose, decide. That's all coming to me now. Am I clear? In my head, yes. But my head is, my own. Does this make sense? And if it does, come on, jump in there and get with this conversation
Well,
on asking, because
there's a
I
lot of
know
clarification.
people struggle with asking questions, especially when it's those questions that, man, this might make or break me questions. Those life or death questions, especially when a dude is going to ask about marrying, asking a woman to marry. I don't mean to say dude. A man is going to ask a woman to marry him. Like, he hangs in the balance while she's all emotional. He's like, hell, is that a yes or a no emotion? I'm not clear. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, there's so much comments from a whole bunch of stuff, right? Because we've talked about so many things. So if I put up all everybody's comments, it's gonna be disjointed.
Well,
But
here's the thing. You get to choose which ones you want to put up.
yep. So number one, I've already shared something that Susan said. Diana's, sharing very quickly. Congratulations on consistently showing up 158 times.
Thank
Right?
you.
Right. Susan had shared something earlier, which was I had said to her, she had said, thinking about how women in particular, are not trained to be clear, direct about asking. And I loved that. That was way earlier, right? Because you were talking about, let's be clear and direct. And she's just thinking about for herself how women in general are not particularly trained to be clear and direct about asking. She just, that sort of like hit her like, like her download, like, I'm realizing for myself, this is how it is for women, And I wrote back to her like, hey, why do you think that? Like what I'm right? Just dialogue, right? So she shared something that you said, boom. She was like, I'm just thinking like we're not. And I was like, that was interesting to me. Like, why do you think women are not trained to be clear or direct about asking, right? Because again, she doesn't know. It's just something to think about, and it, threw it up there. So here, all it inside a conversation. Inside a conversation, we're just dialoguing and talking, and all the stuff is being, downloaded.
And I
Johnny,
think that's incredible. And Susan, let me tell you something. You're right. That's why I use this example in class and I love it. And the kids always, sorry, the students always laugh at it. It's kind of like when you're on a road trip with someone and you've passed a McDonald's and Wawa, and you're on the highway, so you've got all of those fast food places, right? And you turn to the person that's driving and you're like, "Hey, are you thirsty?" And the person says, "No, I'm not." As they pass yet another rest area, let me use that. We're not promoting any one brand here, but you pass another rest area. And now you turn again and you're like, "Are you thirsty?" "No, I'm not thirsty." We keep going by the rest areas. Why is it that we cannot just say, because you're asking a question and you're receiving an answer, it's just not the answer that you want. And that's why you keep asking the same question until it becomes, well, why do you keep asking me the same question? What is it that you really want? And the person may say, hey, do you want something to drink? Are you thirsty? So, in addition to us not being trained to ask for what we want, we also can't tell someone what we want.
yep.
Now I have to ask the question, well, then what are we trained to do? Because we're trained to do something as women. What is that thing that we are trained to do?
And I love that. Love that question. Let's see. I got a little chat response over here. And here we go. It's saying Susan's in the game here. She's like, it's because it's seen as aggressive or threatening, or at the least too bold. Right?
Mm,
There's that, that and I'm getting where Susan, like, ooh, now we're getting into the social work days. Susan and I work together. There was and still is, you know, when women are bold and women go and ask, then there is a perception of, for a long time, I'm not saying for everyone here, but for a very long time, they're considered a word that is not very nice. But if
female
a
dog.
man does it, then it's like, congratulations. Wow, that was amazing. You went up there and you asked for the raise and you said X, Y, and Z and you shared. And if the woman came in and said, yes, and I, did this and this and this and the same thing, then all of a sudden it's aggressive or threatening or too bold, you know? And that's just, you know, an interesting perspective because I've seen that through my lifetime. I've seen that in my lifetime. I'm blessed. And it's still funny. I'm and funny, and I don't mean funny. I was brought up from a very vocal mother. So happy Mother's Day to my mom in heaven, because people are like, have said to me, and I do sometimes get triggered around it because I'm like, I feel like I have to defend myself where I take up too much space. It's like I literally have been told, like, you walk into a room and here you are and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm just being me. And I'm walking into a room and feeling the space and joining in conversations and having conversations with people. And yeah, maybe I'm asking for things that somebody else may want, but I know what I'm in there for. And, there's the whispers, right? Here comes Regina. She takes up a lot of space, or here's Regina. And I shrunk for a really long time, and then I had a lot of then aggression from 0 to 60, and I had to deal with all of that, so it's really interesting. Powerful women, bold women. I love it. Like, we just can't be human beings. There's no black playing field to be like, human being, ask, answer, yes, no, receive. Like, there's always some status around it. So I think it's really, really quite interesting. Michael Embry wrote in here. He goes, That's just failure to learn how to communicate, he says. That, there's when he's talking about why are women, or Michael, tell me if I'm correct, about women, because there's some failure in learning how to communicate. Like,
Did you mean the ride that we went on? We passed every rest, and people. Some people do that. Instead of stating what it is that you want, you got to be clear when you're communicating. If you want something, you've got to be committed to that thing. And consistency is key to get you what it
mm,
is that you want.
mm. Susan has something really beautiful. This is because she's a writer. And so she put up here and said, and it's still true much of the time in the way that we write as well, starting with starting with sentences with prepositions saying like kind of or sort of. How many people speak that way or write kind of, sort of. Our communication, thank you, Michael, as you were putting in there, style reflects how much space we think we can take up. She says it's not just poor communication, but that's another episode. She goes,
Let me tell
"Hi,
you, she's
Susan."
right though. We
Yep.
use those soft words or say, I think, and I used to do that so much years ago.
Mm,
Quick example, if my mom said, hey, well, what do you want to eat? And I'm like, I think I want, just to soften the blow in case she's like, no, we're not having that, or we don't have that in the house. It was always I think I want, let me be very trepidatious here as I walk across and say what it is I think I want. And there are remnants of that person still there, right? This is why you've never arrived at fully having this shifted mindset. There are remnants of the old person still there. And every now and again, she rears her head. And when I hear myself say, I think, you can't unring a bell. But what I say is, no, I want, I don't want, or if I don't know what I want, it's okay to say, I
I
don't know
don't
what I
know.
feel like eating.
Yep.
I know what I don't want, but I'm not sure what I want. So I've got something. And I know a lot of people can be like, well, that's the problem. You got to know what you want. I don't always know what I want to eat.
But that's different than kind
And
of
I'm
sort
using
of.
something simple like
Hmm.
eating. But it is about, like Susan was saying, those, I think, I'm kinda, and those words where it's almost like you're asking for permission. You're
Yeah.
asking for someone to tell you what you want instead of being bold and audacious and saying, I want to sell 50 books. And then when you get even more bold, you say, I will sell 50 books by the end of the summer.
Yep.
And then you get an action to make that happen,
Yep.
right? Just as an example. But it's such a great conversation, this decision and the asking and owning it. When you make a decision, own it.
Yep.
What's the worst that can happen?
Including the whole uh even like Susan's saying something, there's something in there, this was earlier, but it goes perfect now, where it says, inside of our asks and everything, maybe with the sort ofs, the kind ofs, all that stuff, is there's something around there that might be that we don't really deserve, right?
Mhm.
Where that ask is really not authentic because there's some kind of should in the background. There's so much to it. This is like why we take a whole month and 2 months and 3 months having conversations and really taking the time, because now we're going into a half a year. So as we're looking at this time right now, I know I'm taking on for myself, and hopefully many of you will join on the journey of looking at how we are asking or not asking. Are the uh, asks clear? Are they more like waiting for permission, like you were saying, getting that permission of, well, whatever you want? Or I don't, like the I don't knows I like because those are honest. Like, I don't know. And if the person's like, well, I need to know, just be like, got it. I don't know. Feel free. We do this often at my house. You ready to eat? I don't really know, but go ahead and eat. Like, go do you, right? Own that decision. Everybody ate way before me today. Wasn't ready yet. I didn't know at that moment. Then I got very clear I didn't. And everybody ate. And it's not like no fighting. Like, go eat. Go do what you got to do. Versus it could be a whole thing like, well, and then I'm going to wait. And then, no. Like, love y'all. Everybody go eat. Like, go do what you got to do. It seems so simple, but I got to be honest. I'm thinking about it. Like, everything's downloaded to me about these fights in our house when growing up about dinner and all at once. Like, I know that's important. All my moms out there, listen, I get it. We want family time. But I pick and choose those battles now. Everybody's a lot older. We got a 10-year-old almost. We're grown people. We are very clear about what needs to be done. So I'm not gonna sit here and fight over like we all need to be sitting and eating at this moment. Especially when I got, I'm owning what I need to do, which is this show. So there's a lot. This is so much fun. This is like, such a good conversation. I really appreciate everybody, coming on here, because it's super exciting to say that we got a lot more to talk about. A lot more to talk about. Diane's writing in here. Oh, Susan says, right, Raquel. Diane's writing in, our way of responding can also be cultural, also known as etiquette. Oh, I like that, Diane. She's like, etiquette. So it's a way of communicating. Absolutely. Right. And Susan's writing in, yep. It's a lot, but mostly it's a patriarchal society. She's like, tra la la, LOL. She's like, boom.
I don't know what kind of society it is, but we're not that kind of show yet. Because, yeah.
And Michael is writing like, yeah, a question not asked will never get answered. He's like, right there from the beginning of what you said. He was like, yep, question not asked will never get answered.
Very true.
And then Genevieve just jumped on and said, and sometimes I eat standing up. She's just like, LOL. Because she's like, I got things to do and I'm going to be eating and I'm going to do what I'm doing. That's super cute and super funny.
That's hilarious.
It is. So, I mean,
this was great. This was absolutely amazing. I love the energy that everyone is giving to this conversation because really and truly, if asking were so easy, people wouldn't be writing books about how to do it.
Exactly.
Just saying, there's a book for everything. It's not always easy to ask a question, especially if it's something that's going to tap into your emotions. You have to be vulnerable to ask this question. And it's also, sometimes it'll matter who you're asking.
Yep.
So there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into asking. And we can unpack some more of that over the next week or two, that we definitely will, and get into this asking and deciding, and then being okay with what the person said. Or if you're not okay, don't walk away and be a grouch about it and have an attitude. That's where you have a conversation. So
I love it. It definitely is. It's very layered, and that's what we are, right? We're about mindset. We're about, impairment conversations, disempowerment conversations, communication, and it all happens thanks to all of you guys. I do want to say specifically, Raquel and I want to thank you because it's May 11th today, but on May 15th, it is our 3-year official anniversary. The first show we ever did. And we just want to thank you guys so much. Many of you who've just literally around here tonight have been with us from day one. And that is amazing because that's really what this was about, creating a community. It's why we're called Rise and Thrive Together, right? A community of people to be in whatever comes through Raquel and I's head and have a conversation about it. So we just really want to thank you. And since I want to thank you, because here's the thing, Want to go into this ask, reminding people, here's the biggest thing. Raquel came back from China. We've been friends for a really long time, and we reconnected. And she had had a talk show before with somebody else, and she came back home, and we were just catching up. And she was just sharing with me what she wanted to do. And she was like, I think I'm going to start my, talk show again, just thinking of it differently. And I remember when she had that talk show, I wanted to be a guest, and I think I was a guest or was going to be a guest. And this time, I had this deep desire because I wanted to do that, but I wasn't interested in doing it alone. And I just kind of kept it in the background. But here was somebody who was here, and I knew she's committed. I've watched her be committed. She was committed and had many episodes and had a book and was starting like a whole big TV show. So I know she says something. And I asked her because I know who she is. She's going to make it happen, and she's going to do it with someone. If I did not open up my mouth and did not ask, I would most likely be like, look at Raquel doing what she's doing. I don't know. Who knows? I don't really know. I'm not sure. I know who I was then was to ask. I was already doing my own stuff, but I really wanted to do it with someone else. And that's how it began. That ask is officially 158 consistent, committed episodes as of tonight, 3 years. So, sis, thank you for being that, for me, that person as of this moment who I know is committed, I know is consistent, I know is quite clear about what they want. And you've helped me be on that journey to up level my life. I know we've up leveled each other's life. So it is
Absolutely.
an honor and pleasure. And I'm super, just super excited that we are continuing this journey and in this conversation. And
That
thank
we're
you.
doing this together. Regina has helped me through some stuff,
Vice
and
versa.
it's just a together thing, and that's what we're here for. People say, "Well, am I my brother's keeper?" Yeah. Am I my sister's keeper? Yeah. If you're in a position to help someone, you help them. Excuses not allowed as to why you didn't. We don't go by that. That being said, I we are gonna wrap this up. We so appreciate you though, honestly. All jokes aside, 3 years is a long time
Yeah.
to share who we are and to grow in front of people. Most people get to grow behind the scenes, and we're out here airing some of our dirty laundry. But I wouldn't have it any other way. The
Yep.
best way to help someone is to share your story. And each and every single one of us has a story that can help someone heal, that can help someone grow and start achieving and accomplishing what it is that they want just by hearing our story can impact anyone. So, with that, I will say until next time, stay grounded, stay curious, and keep choosing you. Take care.